Yeah.
And Jersey Mike subs solve everything. A sub above, it's Jersey Mike's Wednesday.
Jersey Mike's Day.
It's Jersey Mike's
Day.
Let's start with this. No NFL team, none, has been more pro player than the LA Rams. I mean, they don't use pads during the season. They barely practice. That's why guys like Andrew Whitworth, who have money, he'll be a Hall of Famer, he keeps coming back. Not that it's a country club, but it's very pro player. Even when the player is a little difficult, like Todd Gurley, Joy and I watched for a year. Oh, everything's great. It's our problem. Suddenly, they are ripping quiet, introverted Jared Goff publicly. Sean McVay, the head coach, Mr. Pro Player, after the Packer loss, in which Goff was not terrible, 21-27, passer rating in the hundreds. He said, yeah, he's our quarterback right now. Les Snead asked yesterday, the GM, about quiet, non-controversial. Jared Goff said this.
What I can say is Jared Goff's a Ram in this moment. And I said it's way too early to speculate. The future, that's a beautiful mystery. Moving on from Jared Goff, that's the money we've invested in him. That's not easy to overcome. Anything can be done in the cap-based system.
What? Anything can be overdone. He's our quarterback at this moment. Then they drop the Aaron Rodgers subtle hint. We like Aaron. It's a beautiful mystery. What are they doing? Well, clearly Snead and Sean McVay made a decision several weeks ago privately, this is called Big J journalism, to have a plan of attack, obviously. Now, why would they do this? Now, Washington did the same to Dwayne Haskins, but we later found out he wasn't putting in the work. It was justified. Philadelphia's done this to Carson Wentz, bashed him publicly. We later find out he's not terribly coachable. Green Bay's leaked some stuff through the years to take shots at Aaron. He's a little bit of a blamer. He can be arrogant and condescending. But Goff is quiet, meek, non-controversial. Teammates like him. Why would they do this? Here's my guess. The contract's really hurting the Rams. It's not killing them, but it's hurting them. And they called Goff's agent. And they said, we did you a solid. We paid you early. Let's redo the contract. And the agent said, 2 words, pound sand. And now they're trapped. They can't cut him. It would cost them $65 million. Goff has a market if they don't cut him. In fact, if they cut him after July, the cap hit's really not that big of an issue. And he's not a terrible quarterback. He just beat Seattle with a broken thumb in the playoffs. He wasn't terrible against the Rams. So why would they publicly rip Jared Goff? 2 pro player guys. This is what happens when your career is tied to a quarterback. Les Snead's career is tied to a quarterback. There are no better jobs than GM of the Rams. Stan Kroenke's the current richest NFL owner. You get to live in L.A. on the beach. There's no better job, frankly, than the L.A. Rams. Stan Kroenke's the richest owner. Sean McVay can live on the beach. It's a great, great job. New stadium, richest owner, takes care of everybody. Great organization. But their careers are tied to that contract. And Les Snead made a call, I'm guessing, on that contract, and the agent won't budge. And this is what you do. You go out, Jared Goff caught in the middle. Goff's not going to just hand back $25 million. His contract's not as bad as people think. But this is why you're seeing here what you're seeing. It makes no sense otherwise. Goff's not uncoachable. Goff's not condescending. Goff's putting in the work. Yet he's being attacked by the GM and the coach. He's our quarterback now. These things, you can get out of them. Uncle Colin just explaining the world of football to all of you. Let me shift gears to this. This made me laugh this morning. You know, Tom Brady once joked about his dad Sometimes I have to call Dad and say, Dad, don't talk to radio stations. So Tom Brady Sr. was talking about the New England Patriots. And he went out and he talked about how close Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, is to his son Tom. Called him this past weekend to congratulate him. Belichick still hasn't. But when he talked about Belichick, Tom Brady Sr., and you just know Tom Brady's wincing about this. He said, well, I'm guessing Bill's on a little bit of a hot seat right now. Oh, excuse me, Dad, stop talking. So first of all, Robert Kraft called Brady to congratulate him. Belichick didn't. Robert Kraft's a billionaire. He's 80. He's not a patient man, and he's not going to rebuild. I want you to hear me out on something. Joy will be impressed with this. When Justin Timberlake left NSYNC, Justin Timberlake flourished. NSYNC became irrelevant. When Beyonce left Destiny's Child, Beyonce became a bigger star. Destiny's Child, not as newsworthy. Is that what we're looking at here? That Bill Belichick is Joey Fatone or Lance Bass with a hoodie. Is that what we're looking at here? Now, maybe it's the Beatles, where John Lennon and Paul McCartney both left, and they both had success, but it did take McCartney, Belichick longer. But right now, in the 8 years without Tom Brady, Belichick has had 6 losing seasons, and in the 7th, he didn't make the playoffs. That's Lance Bass with a whistle. That's Joey Fatone with a hoodie. Tom Brady's 1 season without Belichick is very Timberlake, is very Beyonce. He's in the Super Bowl. At this point, you can't deny it. It's always felt like in the last, especially last 7 to 8 years, that Bill Belichick's armor is impenetrable. He is the best coach there is. You can't argue this. But I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you. Belichick, 8 years without Brady, 6 losing years. 1 couldn't make the playoffs. If Andy Reid wins Sunday, and after that wins, I don't know, in 10 years with Mahomes, 2, 3 more Super Bowls, do we view Belichick as the best coach ever? Hear me out. Andy Reid will have won 5 NFC championships without Mahomes. Andy Reid will have gotten to a Super Bowl without Mahomes. Andy Reid will have won with 5, 6 different quarterbacks. Belichick's won with 1. Andy Reid has given more than any coach Belichick trouble. Andy Reid, not Belichick, is the best off a bye. Andy Reid, once he got his great quarterback, Belichick couldn't compete in his final years. Andy Reid is the one guy left in this sport that can penetrate the impenetrable Belichick shield as the best coach ever. Ask yourself. Beyonce flourished. Timberlake flourished. We don't talk Destiny's Child. We don't talk NSYNC. We're going to be talking Belichick in 10 years if he coaches 4 more years, and this is what it is. Mac Jones leading the attack, and Andy Reid winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Just something to think about. That story may not be written. Best coach in football. We thought it was over with Lombardi. Oh, wait, it's Knowles the best coach. Oh, wait, it's Bill Walsh is the best coach. No, it's Belichick is the best coach ever. Andy Reid is 62. is still the most clever coach in the league, and he ain't leaving. You're going to have to pull him out of that city with Mahomes. 8-10 years left. He knocks 4 or 5 Super Bowls down, 1 in 2 Sundays. Is he the greatest ever? Just a thought. Lance Bass with a hoodie. I always love our graphics department. Joey Fatone with a whistle. Coming up next, is it possible, when you're married